on ESPN. It must be a sport. Really? Okay.
An activity involving physical exertion. Is eating physical exertion? Competitively, if you're eating, is that physical exertion?
But physical exertion, you could get that doing a lot of things.
I'm just asking. Come on, Lee, jump on in.
Is
that physical exertion?
Breaking a sweat.
Okay. Now, does it involve a skill in which an individual has to utilize it to compete?
Yeah, they train.
Is it a skill to be able to eat competitively?
Yes.
What do you think, Jonas?
Cool. A skill. Cool. That's awesome. Like there's guys that can juggle knives
and
too.
Is it used?
Sweet.
Is it used as a form of entertainment?
Absolutely.
Then it's a sport.
All right.
By definition, competitive eating, Joey Chestnut is an athlete.
That's physical exertion.
Is cornhole a sport?
There's physical exertion, and there is. If you've ever cornholed,
by the way,
if you've ever played the game, it takes skill to be able to do it. Eye-hand coordination.
I'll say this right now. There's not a person at the network who could beat me at cornhole. Not one. Not one. They'd get lit on fire.
I think we should start bringing one in and playing during the break.
Okay.
On God.
You don't want anything. Yeah, I mean, nobody's using
on
this
God.
stuff.
I think that would be
We'll compete
really
against
cool.
the cockroaches that are around
and the bats. And they got that sonar.
I used to be a Denny's, Chief.
They got that sonar, so you know they got to get the bags in there.
All right, so yeah, again, Herdline News coming up a little over 15 minutes from now. Cracking the code of a superstar athlete. By the way, so Max Crosby does the SAC Summit that he hosts with Cam Jordan and Von Miller. They all get together in Vegas. Yeah, it's awesome. And you've seen this sort of with the tight ends and a lot of these position groupings getting together and just trying to work and get better. And so he was talking just about the success that they're looking for in Las Vegas, and he said, quote, individual success and things like that are awesome, but it's not why you play the game. You play to win. We just saw it in the NBA. OKC just a couple of years ago was one of the worst teams in the league, but they had a lot of young guys. They trusted the process. They developed, and now they're world champions. We're trying to win. I want to win so badly. I put everything into it. I want everybody else to think like that, and that's been my goal, just bringing as many guys along as I possibly can. That was Max Crosby talking about his desire for the Raiders to start winning some games there. I don't believe that the Raiders are going to be a factor when it comes to the playoffs, when it comes to, competing for a Super Bowl in that division. I don't. But what I would say, it does feel, for the first time in a long time, and this isn't a shot at Antonio Pierce, I just think he was in a situation where they had no real plan or direction. It does feel like they've at least got some plan and got some direction. I don't think it's going to result in them winning a bunch of games and they're going to the postseason, but Geno Smith is an upgrade. You've got Pete Carroll there. There's a whole bunch of energy in the building. Tom Brady's involvement. Spytex there's the GM. It does at least feel like they're on the path, heading in the right direction after a lot of years of, what are we doing? We're just reacting to the Gruden firing and trying to make a bunch of moves that just failed miserably from everybody's info and input into the organization. All those moves failed. It didn't work. And now at least they're on the path, hopefully getting back to where they're a respected organization.
I mean, keep in mind they added Ashton Genty to the team. They got Brock Bowers. I mean, they got some talent on this team.
Yeah.
But it's the AFC West. So let's reel in ourselves on getting carried away about they have the right direction. Geno Smith is a fine quarterback. Is he a bona fide franchise guy that can go into the AFC West and contend against the likes of a Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, which, I mean, obviously, that goes without saying. It could be he defines himself this year, or he could be just a guy that we keep saying should be a franchise guy, but isn't quite a franchise guy. And then you got Buddy in Denver in,
Bo Nix,
man. And I think Bo Nix has the capabilities with Sean Payton as his coach, which, by the way, if you bring into the coaches into the fold, Pete Carroll arguably is the odd man out just because of how old he is. I mean, trying to reestablish what you created at his age in a new space where things have been so topsy-turvy is very chaotic, and it's probably going to be very difficult. Because then you got Andy Reid over here who's already got his systems in place, and it works. It's an autopilot. You got Harbaugh over here who has proven he is bar none, like second to nobody in terms of being a dope coach. And I look for them to take a tremendous step forward this year with him having a little bit of time under his belt now. And then you have Sean Payton. Like, talk about, is there a better division of coaches in the National Football League in one singular concentrated place?
Probably not.
Andy Reid has Super Bowls.
Yeah.
What's
Sean Payton?
Sean Payton has Super Bowls.
Pete Carroll's got a Super Bowl.
Pete Carroll's got a Super Bowl. Harbaugh has a Super Bowl appearance. So
national championship,
and
too.
He's a national championship guy. I just, I think that it sounds good. And much like when John Madden told me my second year in the league that he would bungee cord out of the Goodyear blimp at the 50-yard line for the halftime show if the Washington Redskins at the time, now the Commanders, had made it to the Super Bowl. I think if John was still living and had an interview with Max Crosby, he would most likely respond to Max Crosby the same way he responded to me when he asked me, did we have a legitimate chance with our team to be able to make it to the Super Bowl?
Well, look, in Max's defense, he just said, they're trying to win games. They're trying, he's trying as much as he can. He was rewarded with the contract extension this year. I don't think, like I said, that they are a factor from a playoff standpoint. But don't you feel better about them?
No.
You don't feel better about them?
Why should you feel better about them?
Because they've upgraded at quarterback. They've got a coach who's actually got support, unlike your guy Antonio Pierce.
That's what you think. You thought that Antonio Pierce had support. I mean, it sounded as though they were supporting AP to build this team and build the culture. And then they went away from him after a year. They've not done anything that's really different from what they've done in the past. They've made splash hires in the past.
You don't think Geno Smith's an upgraded quarterback?
Yes, because they didn't have a starting quarterback last year. But he ain't too far off from a backup quarterback that's now a starting quarterback. I mean, let's not get carried away here. Geno Smith is a fine football player. He's not an elite. Do you look at him? That is the wrong team. And if Geno Smith went to a different team in a different division, sure. The NFC West is wide open.
All right, so let me just generally speaking, your feeling about the Raiders, is it not different this year than it has been the past couple of years?
Are they going to finish ahead of the Broncos?
Probably not.
Then they're going to finish last.
Yeah.
Oh, then what? But what's there to feel good about?
But my point is, they're not going to be a factor, but they've at least started in the right direction.
Are they going to finish ahead of the Chargers?
Probably not.
Then they're probably going to be last.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, they're still last place. Listen, now, I'm not trying to sell the Raiders as a Super Bowl
I don't want to get into the business of being a supporter of being a great loser. Like, you're a better loser than this loser team over here. I don't want to get into that business.
Okay, but wouldn't you say 6-11 feels different than 4-13?
No.
I don't know. I would.
You still, but you. I mean.
And there's an energy there. Pete Carroll's got some energy. You've got Pete Carroll like he's Doc Holliday falling off a horse.
I mean, he's kind of like Doc Holliday, man. I ain't gonna go as bad. He ain't a lunger. Yeah, I don't think so.
He's in great shape.
Not a lunger. He still throws the ball, but he's old.
He's got that energy. He's got Geno there. Tom Brady's influence in the building.
I remember when Joe Gibbs came back and started coaching, and it was like the reunion of Cocoon out there on the football field, man. On everything. Like you look at what You had Don Bro, he was using, yeah, man. You had Don Bro, he was using a walker out there on the field. You had one, he had oxygen. He had to have an oxygen tank with him. I mean, there's something about being an old coach, bringing back the old gang. Like, listen, Pete Carroll isn't like that, but, I mean, Gibbs did that. And literally,
Chip Kelly's back. Come on, man.
Chip Kelly's a brilliant football mind. He made some good moves. I just don't, until you see differently from a team like the Raiders, there's no way you could definitively say you feel good about a team like that, especially in the division and how competitive that division is.
I want to make a statement here, and I want this. You can F8 this behind the scenes there if you want to save this. I'm going to make a statement here right now. The Las Vegas Raiders will be the most feel-good last place team in the NFL this upcoming season. Of all the last place teams in the NFL this upcoming season, we're going to feel best about the Raiders. That's happening.
You think so?
I think so. That's how that's going down. Why don't you put that in your pipes and smoke it?
You think so?
Yeah.
All right, let's determine, and we got to go pretty quickly here, but let's determine what are those last place teams.
I'm not ready to go that far into it. I'm just saying.
No?
I'm just saying right now, the Raiders are going to feel good about it at the end of this year. Hey, you know what, though? Heading in the right direction. There's other teams you look at, you go, oh, they're just terrible. That team stinks.
Cleveland Browns.
Terrible.
Will the Jacksonville Jaguars finish last?
Not ready to go there.
Not ready to go there.
Yeah.
Will the Steelers finish last place?
Well, no, because of the Browns.
Will the Carolina Panthers finish in last place?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, I think the Saints will. The Saints are terrible.
Will the Jets?
No. I think the Dolphins will in that division.
Will the Dallas Cowboys or Giants?
Maybe one of those teams. I'm not as high on Washington as everybody is. A lot of
You
people
should,
are real
you
high
should
on
be.
Washington.
Unless they lose Scary Terry to Pittsburgh, which if that happens, that'd be crazy. But I think you should be high on Washington. You should be.
No.
They're going to be competitive.
Listen, like I said, we've got a whole training camp and we've got preseason games. I'm not ready to.
The New England Patriots.
No, I don't think the Patriots are finishing last. I think the Dolphins are in that division.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. I'm telling you, the Raiders feel good last place team of the NFL for 2025.
I don't buy that at all.
Yeah.
That's like saying the Jets are a really feel good last place finishing team. They're in the same category in comparison. I don't agree with that. I don't buy that, Jonas. That's cap.
And by the way, what does that mean?
You're lying.
I'm kidding. By the way,
you're lying.
we are brought to you by Navien. Save big on your water and energy